Greetings, friends and fellow freelancers. Welcome back to another episode of Tabletop Mercenary. I wish I had good news to share this week, but unfortunately, I feel that I need to talk about something that is developing here on YouTube as a platform. And by the time you all hear this, it might be old news, but in the event that you all haven't, because I'm recording this about 2 weeks before you see it, YouTube has announced that it's going to be changing its guidelines again as to who gets monetized and who doesn't. And for those who are wondering about that spot of bitterness in my voice, well, that's because I've been here watching YouTube clamp down on creators basically for the past 6 or 7 years, and I have seen those goalposts keep on moving. And you can't just go to another platform and make money there because unfortunately YouTube has become sort of the only game in town. But let me back up and explain to you all exactly what already happened and what's going to be happening according to the announcement that's put out, and then what you all can do about it. Because as we have found repeatedly, customer base is what drives the decisions of big corporations, and if we make our voices heard loud and hard enough, well, maybe they'll pay attention one more time. But I would like to take a moment and rewind us all back to the glory days before COVID. In ye olden times, I was working with some friends on a different YouTube channel, which is no longer around, but we had basically the same goal of put out cool gaming content, get enough people to watch and listen and check out what we're doing, and then maybe we could turn this into a source of income, maybe blow it up big into an actual business. And at that time, all you needed to get monetized was to have 10,000 official hits on your videos. And for some of us, that's easy as hell. If you go through the Azukail Games channel, we have at least one video that's broken that boundary. We might have a second on the way soon. So theoretically, that is something you could do with one video if you're really lucky. But we were still fighting that uphill battle, trying to get an audience, trying to get our views up, when YouTube made a change and said, hey, actually, we're altering that now. And instead of just getting 10,000 views before you were monetized, which, all right, fair enough. You want to have some barrier of entry that seems arbitrary but doable for most people. They changed it so that you then needed what we have now, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. And for folks who can't really put those numbers into perspective, 1,000 subscribers is hard as hell to get. It took us a while to manage it over here on the Azukail Games channel. 4,000 watch hours, though. You need to get that in the space of 1 year, 365 days. And that is roughly 11 hours and change a day that your videos are being watched. And with the caveat that they are being watched without some sort of VPN, without some sort of ad blocker. Those are actual public hours just being watched raw-dogged. Which means, generally speaking, you need 3 to 4 times that many views, because there are so many people whose views YouTube will just decide doesn't count and you need to get someone else to look at it. That is really hard. We managed it here by a single stroke of luck, partially because of the video that I mentioned of the problem with Pentex, which blew up for no apparent reason as far as I can tell, aside from maybe the Ia Nasir reference. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out, leave something in the comments, let me know that you watched it because I told you to go check it out this week. That's already really difficult. That can take years of effort and build-up and energy and work from smaller channels, smaller creators. And YouTube has recently announced that they're just going to double those restrictions before you can get monetized. So while you still only need 1,000 subscribers, which is difficult enough, you now need 8,000 public watch hours, or 20 million shorts views. And that's going to go into effect in February of 2027. So the question that you need to ask if you are thinking about becoming a YouTuber, can you get people to watch your content 22 hours a day for an entire year without missing a single day, without a single slump? And will all of those people not be using ad blockers or VPNs or any other thing to ensure their privacy? Because that's what YouTube expects you to do. And I say this as someone who has gone through this situation before, has done this dance before. This has nothing to do with making sure that only people of quality stick around and people who are going to bring an audience and build a platform and all of that nonsense. This is explicitly just because YouTube doesn't want to share the money with people. It's plain and simple, full stop. We have been seeing shrinkflation and corporate greed all over the place, and this is just another example of it. Because if YouTube really wanted to support its creators, it would monetize everyone. If you're making content, it would share the ad revenue with you from the get-go, no questions asked. That would be a genuinely supportive model where it's trying to help everyone be the best they can be, build the audience that they need, and they're genuinely allowing everyone to have a share of what's going on. That's not what's happening. They are just moving the goalposts once again to ensure that even fewer people can get their slice of the pie on this platform, while dangling a carrot out there for everyone to keep making free content in hopes that maybe one day possibly they'll be able to get a couple of dollars at the end of the month because they'll have met the impossible goals. Or they'll have been poked on the head by the zeitgeist and something they did went viral. And I bring this up because while channels like Azukail Games are supposedly going to be grandfathered in because we've already been monetized and, we can kick our feet up and rest on our laurels a bit, other smaller channels and other people that are trying to get over that hump may not be so lucky. And I am specifically calling out the Alice Files, the audio drama channel I've been doing with Alice Liddell, for this particular section, because at time of recording, we're about 1,300 hours out of the 4,000 that we would need to hit, and we're about 340 subscribers out of the 1,000 that we would need to hit. So I want to ask everyone here two favors. First and foremost, a very personal favor. If you could go over to the Alice Files, if you could hit that subscribe button, if you could listen to our content, if you could share it around with folks, like, comment, subscribe, all those things, it would mean a lot to me, because basically the only way that we're going to be able to dodge this whole oncoming storm is if we can get ourselves monetized and grandfathered in before the new standards drop. Because I love making audio dramas. I really enjoy what we're putting together. I'm having a lot of fun with the story, but it is not the kind of thing that goes viral. It is not the kind of thing that people are going to show up for over and over and over again. And it is not the kind of thing that we can keep doing season after season after season with no actual return on what we're doing. This is a project that we love, but a fun job is still a job, as the song says. So if you want to help me keep that side project going, I would really appreciate you heading over there and helping us boost those numbers so we can actually secure our place before this new impossible standard drops. The second thing that I would love folks to do is to reach out to YouTube and inform them this is not a good change. They should not be doing this. This is not a thing that you as a consumer want to see from them. You do not want to see channels, creators, and content that you like punished just because it's not big enough and does not have enough people backing it. And unfortunately, there is not a complaint email you can just reach out to for YouTube. The people that I have seen do this is they go over to Twitter, or X, I suppose we're calling it now, and just at YouTube, or at YouTube support, I believe it is, and just yell at them. Yell at them in a full deluge and inform them of your opinion. And if you happen to be a YouTube Premium subscriber, which seems to be what they're gearing things toward, trying to turn this free platform into yet another subscription model, inform them that you are going to cancel if they go through with this. Or just cancel it now and let them know why. It worked when Wizards of the Coast decided they were going to try and force everybody to stop playing with their toys. It'll work with YouTube if enough people say, not only are we not going to show up and consume and give you our time and eyes, we are also going to close our wallets and take back our investment. Money is the only thing that corporations understand, so if you have the ability, I would recommend you taking that stand if this is a thing that makes you as mad as it makes me. And unfortunately, this is just another one of those things that we are going to have to deal with, because YouTube might not strictly be a monopoly in that sense of the word, but it is the only game in town for folks who want to show up and make video content, and they want to just get part of the ad revenue. They just want to have a cut. They don't want to convince people to subscribe. They don't want to get people to show up to a Patreon, to show up to whatever other crowdfunding source it is. They just want views, and they want to be rewarded for the amount of traffic they generate. It is unfortunately a model that fewer and fewer people are going to because I don't honestly know why. It worked so well for so long, and now it just seems like greed of trying to force people to pay up front for something that's been free for my entire life, basically. So this is one of those things where I'm sure there's other creators talking about it. I'm sure there's other tech folks bringing it up, but I know that you all are part of the gaming circle, and this may not be a thing that other gaming creators are talking about. So I wanted to throw my voice out there and toss my beret in the ring and make sure that at least my audience is aware of it. And once again, please drop over by the Alice Files, check us out, see if you like what we're doing, and if you want to help us actually have a future over on that channel, because I don't want to abandon it, but we are going to have to face some tough choices if we get to February of next year and we have not secured our place as monetized. So that's all for this week. Apologies for not focusing more on gaming, but I figured there's a lot of folks out there who either are going to want to use YouTube as a way to advertise their games, or they want to create gaming content, or they're going to want to do some variety of live or actual play, and this is going to affect you too if you were hoping that that would generate enough interest, enough views to, well, become self-sustaining and actually a return on your investment. So unfortunately, we don't have good news today, but hopefully if we all raise our voices and make our opinions known, YouTube will decide not to do this, and we can just go back to how things were, which wasn't great, but it's a hell of a lot better than whatever this is going to be. So, as always, leave your comments and thoughts down in the section below. Please stop by any of the other places I've talked about. If you have other smaller content creators who have not yet been monetized, do your best to get them, the subscriptions, the views that they need to lock in before this happens. Yell at YouTube over on Twitter or at any other locations you can find that they're listening to. And until next time, this is your Tabletop Mercenary, signing off. First and foremost, thank you for staying to the end of this episode of Tabletop Mercenary. If there's a question you have about being an RPG creator, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments below so I can address it in a future episode. If you want to help me keep the lights on and keep this show going, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and giving it a share on your own social media pages to help boost the signal. Lastly, if you really enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a tip by buying me a Ko-fi or becoming a Patreon patron at the links in the video description below. You'll find me on both sites under the name The Literary Mercenary. Welcome to the secret outro, friends. Nice to see you all here. I just had a couple of quick questions for you. Do you have trouble perking up when it's time for game? Do you find yourself running out of steam when you're behind the Game Master's screen? Are you sick of paying the adventurer's price for energy drinks when you grab them from the gas station along with your other snacks? If so, I wanted to tell you about Dubby. You're on YouTube, so you've probably heard of a dozen different companies that make powdered energy drinks. Dubby is one of those. What makes it special? Well, it uses natural sources of caffeine, it has no sugar, boasts a formula that helps you avoid crashing, it's made in the USA for those who care about that sort of thing, and it comes in a variety of tasty flavors. The one I find myself preferring right now is Retro Sherbet, but I haven't found a bad one. There's also a hydrating blend, which I would recommend for those of you who want something to replenish your electrolytes when you're working out. Anyway, if you want to give it a try, use my code LiteraryMercenary for 10% off, or follow the link in the video description below. Every purchase made supports me directly, and who knows, with enough sales, I might be able to get some unique merch of my own. So please, check it out, grab a tub for yourself, and let's keep those dice rolling all night long.